everyone, I'm the Peculiar Pisces and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, and this is the last week of May. This is Flosstube video number, I should have looked at it before I started talking. This is Flosstube video number 46. Sorry, for whatever reason, the Flosstube numbers do not stick in my brain. I look at it before I start my videos, and then as soon as I start talking, it just poofs out of my brain. So, oh, hold on just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. So normally I start out each video with like stitchy mail, and I've been very good about not buying a lot of things except for the projects that I've been working on. And I think a couple weeks ago, oh, sorry, I ran all the way upstairs because I'm in the basement. So I ran all the way upstairs to get my bag. I finally got my fabric for my chatelaine, which I am not starting in June. I am starting in July. But the fabric that I got is from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It is called Dreamweavers. This is 32 count Lugana opalescent. So I am in, oh, it looks washed out. I am in love with this fabric. It's a beautiful spring green that you really can't see. Oh man, it's a beautiful spring green that fades into a pink, that fades into a purple. And this is for my Misty Morning chatelaine. So I'll be starting here. Where is it? Here in the middle. There it is. There in the middle. And working out. I did a floss toss, and I love how all the silks look against this fabric. So I am totally in love. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the sparkle in this is just insane. The sparkle on this is like the sparkle that's on my the one that's on the Bella Filipina, and I can't think of it right now. But I'm so happy that I got the fabric for my chatelaine. There are two colors of silks that I'm a little bit nervous about because they're such light colors. There's this one that's this is the Thread Gatherer Silks and Colors, and this is called Rosebush, and it's got some pinks in it that are pretty similar to the pinks that are in my fabric, but when I looked at it against the fabric, I could still see it. It didn't look like it was getting lost. And then the other color is, I think it's this other, the Thread Gatherer Silks and Colors and Southwest Sands. This one, although it's more neutral colors, there is a pinkish tone to some of the more darker colors. But as far as I can tell, it looks like it's all going to show up very nicely. So I'm super happy about having the fabric for my chatelaine so I can actually start it when July rolls around. In March, I was supposed to start it, and then I didn't like the colors, and I didn't have the fabric for it. So I just didn't do a project 3 for that month. For March? Yeah, March. Okay, so anyway, let's get to our regularly scheduled updates. Sorry about the sun. I was trying to fix it, but then if I completely close the window, it gives the room more of an orangish cast from the overhead light that did not look very flattering. So this was the best that I could do lighting wise. So my family is out of school for the summer. They do not go back until August. And then starting this week, I will be working on my projects very differently from how I normally work on them. So let's get into it. Where is project one? Project one. There we go. Project one is The Daughters of Estuary by which way looks better? Okay, I guess it'd be better over here. The Daughters of Estuary by Bella Filipina. And here is my progress. So I did finish out that top page that the green mermaid is on. And I'm now on the page that would come down to the middle, which would take us, well, even with this one, so around down about here. So this one is really flying along. I'm impressed with how quickly I've shown progress on this one. I mean, I'm pretty close to being halfway, with the exception of the beading and the backstitching. And for this green mermaid, I still don't have the I still don't have the special Karen water lilies color. So I'm waiting for all that to come. Two beads for this project, the water lilies color, the extra Krynic of the orange, a Q snap, like a big 18 by 18 Q snap. And was there something else I was missing? Oh, I ordered the pearl blending filament for my Teresa Wensler. So I'm just sort of waiting for that order to come, and I'm really hoping that it comes soon so I stop worrying about it. So this one, I have worked on it this past week. I got to work on it 8 hours, 19 minutes, and 17 seconds. And it has now brought my total project time to 90 hours, 4 minutes, and 29 seconds. Well, for 5:19 to 5:25. I did work on it yesterday, and I worked on it an hour and 27 minutes, but that's not added to the time for last week. So for last week, ending on 5:25, I've now worked on it 90 hours and 4 minutes. And okay, I didn't say, this is Volcano stitching. The color is Poseidon. This is 18 count Opal Aida. And like you can see, well, maybe you can't, but normally you can just see so much sparkle within this one. I really love opal fabrics, and I have decided that as long as it's not full coverage, I want to stitch it on opals. And that's also to go along with, I no longer stitch on white, cream, ivory. Okay, so that's project one. Favorite designer. Project two is the Dutch Beauty Sampler. Let me do it over here. And I am on page 2, which is in the section. So I am going along the top section. And once I probably hit this top edge, then I will go, finish down and then just sort of probably work on it from there, I believe. But to get a better look, this is the section that I'm in. I'm doing this. I think it's calling her a queen. I just want to be like, yes, queen, yes. Does it say it's a queen? Oh, Dutch Virgin in the Dutch garden. She's holding a stick or a lance in her left hand. On the stick is a hat with a waving ribbon. The Dutch Virgin is a symbol of freedom. Okay. So I'm working on the Dutch Virgin, not the Queen. I was calling her a queen this whole time because it looked like she had a crown on her head. Okay, so here. Here's my project on this. Maybe if I sit down, you can see it a little better. So like I said, I have worked up to this page edge. I did work in filling this bottom in and whatever this is, and this is part of her dress. There we go. That's a little better. So yeah, here's my progress on the Dutch Beauty Sampler. And I spun my Tiny Decisions app today, and the Dutch Beauty is what I am supposed to work on for today. Okay, and then that is 14 count Aida that I dyed myself. And project 2. I got to work on it 3 hours, 39 minutes, and 49 seconds last week. And it has now brought my total project time to 32 hours, 34 minutes, 26 seconds. And then project 3 is the Winter in the Shire by Tilton Crafts. This is the one that I am doing by color completion, and the color with the most stitches was 3865, which was an off-white color. And so I've just been working in all of this white. So let me grab this and see how well we can see it. I feel like you can't see it at all. Well, maybe if I angle it some. So I don't feel like I can. This is hard to talk about. This is the one project that I hate showing on camera because it's so hard to see what's going on. So I did finish out this section of the house over here, and this is my edge. So I was a little off on where I thought my edge was. I thought it was more over here, but it's right here. So I did finish this off, and then I jumped back over here to where the roof line started, and I'm coming down and working in whatever's down here. So I am enjoying seeing how it's coming together, each, with the color being stitched out. I'm just not enjoying it being 3865. But let me open up Pattern Keeper and zoom way out. It's like, I don't know how well you can see because they block it out in the color that it is, but the purple is what I still have left to do of this color. And the white all up in here is done. Okay, so that is 25 count easy grid that I got off of 123 Stitch, and it is 1/1. All my other projects are 2/1. Okay, so this one I was all over the place on. Again, I got to work on it 3 days last week, and that was to include Sunday, not Saturday, Sunday. So of those 3 days, the first day I did 804 stitches, the next day I did 503, and that Sunday that I worked on it, I got 200 and can't tell if that's a 26 or a 36. Can't tell what I wrote down. But last week I worked on it a total of 6 hours, 47 minutes, and 16 seconds. And that has brought my total project time to 35 hours, 20 minutes, and 47 seconds. So this week I am ending out the week with, did that say that? Yeah. 8,284 stitches complete out of 122,500, and I am a 6.76%. And the thing that I dislike about stitching this is just that white color on the white fabric. It gets so lost, and I have to make sure that I'm paying a lot of attention to make sure that I'm stitching in the right spots, to make sure that I'm counting properly. I can't wait to switch to the next color, which is a very, very pale blue, like a bluish grayish kind of color. I can't remember what the number is off the top of my head, but I can't wait to finally switch over to that one. So I still have 11,198 stitches left of 3865. And I'm hoping that by the end of this week, because Saturday will be my last day to stitch on all these projects, and then Sunday I'll take the time to take everything out of their hoops and switch out the new ones. I will be sewing project 3 to this frame. Anyway, so Sunday I'll be doing all of my switching, but I'm hoping that I get down to 10,000-ish stitches. I don't care about the number after the 10,000. I just care that that front number gets down to 10,000, because when I pick this back up in, I think September. When I pick this back up in September, I will look at how many days there are in the month and just divide that by the 10,000 stitches. And I should get a very reasonable number in which to finish 3865. So I'm really hoping to finish 3865 by the time this year is up, and then I can switch to a new color. That's my real goal with this Tilton Crafts, and it's 122,500 stitches. So it is moving along. It's just, I hate showing it on camera. I hate taking pictures of it and posting pictures on Instagram or Reddit. I'm not on Facebook anymore. So I hate showing pictures because it looks like I'm just taking a picture of a white cloth. You have to really, really look at it and go, oh, I think I see a shimmer there. So next time I do color completion, I will really plan out my project just a little bit better. Okay, so project 4 is, wait, here it is. Okay. All right. Project 4 is my Stash Buster piece. And okay. This one is Candamar Designs. The designer is Christian Reese Lassen, and this is called the Silent Journey Picture. This is one that, although I purchased this kit last year, and I showed you when I received it in my Stitchy Mail segment, but I started this when I was in high school. This was like, I don't know, a couple of I finished my first big project. I'd finished a couple of littler projects. I had attempted my very first Teresa Wensler and gave up because a Teresa Wensler with a relative newbie was not working. I could not do 2 strands of a blend over 25 count fabric and make it look neat. I still have the floss for it. I have no idea if I still have the pattern. I don't have it here where I live in Colorado. If the pattern is still existing, it's at my grandmother's somewhere, and I don't know. I remember cutting the pattern and getting rid of the grayed areas where it overlapped and taping it together properly. But I don't know, I don't remember if I made a working copy and did that to the working copy or if I did that to the original pattern. I don't know if the original pattern is still here. It might have gotten burned like in with I have no idea. After I do a couple more Teresa Wenslers, I will go back to that project. I will have to buy the pattern brand new, but I will go back to that pattern. It was the peacock tapestry for if I'm pretty sure I've said about it. It was the peacock tapestry. That was just too much for a newbie, somebody that only had 1 or 2 projects under their belt. And like I remember when I picked my first project, I tried to pick the peacock one, and my grandma was like, no, no, that's a little too advanced for somebody just starting out. Let's pick something a little bit easier. And then I ended up picking that dolphin one. I've showed a picture of it before. I'll have to see if I still have the picture. But I ended up picking that dolphin, and then after the dolphin was over, and I think I picked another project and completed it, my grandma was like, okay, you have a few under your belt. Go ahead, let's try this Teresa Wensler. And I got like this much of it done. I got 1 whole pear and some of the leaves around it, and the back was so full of knots. It was so full of, it just was not working, and I gave up on it. And fortunately for me, I did not give up on cross stitch. I just gave up on that particular pattern, and I will have vindication on it. I will. I just want to get a few more Teresa Wenslers under my belt before I go back to it. So anyway, I did start this in high school, and as I recall, I think I only got about halfway done with it. I don't have it here. As far as I know, my mom hasn't come across it. Again, as far as I know, my grandma hasn't come across it. So it's gone forever, wherever it is. So I repurchased it, and this is the one that I've been working on for my Stash Buster piece for January, now May, and then again in September. So I am using the provided kit, and I am using the provided Aida. Give me just a minute. Let me partially take this off of the Q-snap like I did last week. Okay. So here's my progress. I filled in the stuff here. I just got to fill in this area, finish filling in the whale and this comet, meteor, shooting star, and then like a couple stitches in here. There's a couple of little random stitches so there's like 3 stitches up here. There's a stitch here. And then down here, there's a couple of random stitches that's all the same color, and I'm just going to wait until the end to do that. But yeah, here's my progress. So I'm really pleased with how this one's coming along. I'm really pleased that I'm close to, so like this is the top half of the pattern. So, I mean, I don't have that much more to do on this page. before I move to the next half. So I'm very pleased with how the progress has been going on this one. Okay, so that is my 4 projects for the month of May. And I will be switching off, as I said, on Sunday, which is June 1st. So I will be switching. I brought them with me. So I will be switching to project 1. Favorite designer is the Mirabilia, the August Peridot Fairy. Boy, that's hard to see. And let's see where I am in my progress on it. Here's where I am on my August Peridot Fairy. So I am within the skin. I did a little bit of the beading on the wand so that I could finish out the stitching on the wand. But that's the only beading that I've done on it. This is Bestitch Me, and it's called Wild Bouquet. And this is 28 count Opal Lugana. I don't know how well you can see the sparkle in this one. But here's where I am. I'm working in the skin. There. It's a little better. Here's the whole piece of fabric. And I stitched it so that the yellowish part would be more behind the wand. So yeah, I can't wait to pick this up. I have found that towards the end of the month, now that I know that I'm switching off my projects towards the end of the month, I'm like, yeah, I'm really tired of this one. I can't wait to start the next one. So, sorry, I'm rolling this up. Okay, so let me put these back on it. And I believe I have all of the fabric and all of the beads for, not fabric, all of the floss and all of the beads for this one. I don't think I'm missing anything from this one like I am the Bella. Okay, and then project 2. Did I give my stats for project 4, the whale? I don't think I did. Sorry, let me back up to the whale. The Silent Journey picture, the Candamar designs. It is the kit fabric, so it's a 14 count navy blue Aida, and the kit floss. I got to work on it 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 37 seconds last week, and it's brought my total project time to 26 hours, 7 minutes, and 43 seconds on the whale picture that I forgot to give you that stat on. Okay, so now jumping back to what I'm moving to. For project number 2, I am going back to my black work piece, which I'm in this last quarter. It actually goes this way. I had started stitching up this side. So this one's so close to being done. I hope that my goal for when I start it in June is to get at least 2 out of the 4 pages complete. Like that would be my goal. That's my goal, getting 2 of the 4 pages complete for this section. I mean, if I rock and roll and knock the whole section out of the ballpark, I will be extremely happy. But trying for a more optimistic goal is I want to get two of those pages done. And looking at my progress last year, I think that I can get 2 of the pages done. Okay, and then project 3 is, this is Nene Thomas's Waterfalls of Jade. And I don't think this pattern is on her website anymore. I've looked several times and I can't find it. So I don't know if she just retired it or I don't know. I don't know. But this is what I'm working on. Nene Thomas's Waterfalls of Jade. And this is on a pink fabric that I dyed myself. And here's my progress. I'm up here in this top corner in the cherry blossoms and the waterfalls. I'm trying to do it like Sarah the Stitchin' Mommy, where I'm working on a 10 by 10 square, filling it in, and then trying to stitch out that color. But it's very, very confetti-y. So I stitched them out a little bit, and then I would park it until I get more to that area, to that section. And everything is washed out because of that window. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The lighting just is really bad in my house in general. Okay, so this one will be project 3 that I will be stitching onto the frame on whenever it's time to switch. I hope to get more of this one done than I did the previous time that I worked on it. It's a very beautiful piece. And then project 4 will be the Dimensions Indian Peacock kit. I am using the provided fabric. I am using the provided floss. I did not dye it or alter the fabric in any way because of the effects that is going on with the Dimensions kit, how it does the half crosses and full crosses and variation. So I didn't want it to mess up some of these modeled. Can you even see that? There's stitching there. So because of how the stitching will do this like its own modeled effect with half stitches and full stitches and whatever, I opted to not actually dye this piece. I just didn't want to ruin any of the effects that we're going to have on it. So, yeah, so here's where I am on the Indian Peacock. And if you look at the pattern, I just have this top half for this page to do. And yeah. So, yeah. That's where I am. That's what I've been working on for the past month. I've just been slogging along. And I'm excited to get to these new stitches. I'm excited to switch over. So that's everything. That's everything. So I don't know if I'm going to be filming next week. You know, the kids are off of school. We're trying to do summer activities. I'm trying to keep the kids busy and not driving me crazy. There's just a lot. a lot going on. So I don't know if I will see everyone next week. If not, I will see you in 2 weeks for sure. I will try to make an effort over the summer that if I cannot film every week, that it will be every other week. And because it's summer and the kids, everything is different and I don't quite have the same time, I'm using the Tiny Decisions app, and I've loaded the 4 projects for the month up, and I will spin the app and work on just one of those projects each day, throughout the day. In the evening time, I will probably still default to project number 1 because that's my primary focus. That's my primary piece, is my favorite designer project. Those are the ones that ultimately I want to enter into the fair. Now, there are some other ones that are fair categories. Oh, I didn't give my fair update, I don't think. I am entered into the county fair. I am waiting for my Teresa Wensler dragon to be framed. It's supposed to be done June 2nd, and turn in for the fair is I know I put it in here. The fair starts the 27th. Ah, here. No, that's state fair registration. So the state fair, so I'm entered into the county fair, and the state fair, the registrations open up June 9th. I'm gonna have to double check when I have to take the piece to be judged. Hold on, maybe I have that webpage open still. Oh, that's the state fair. Man, why can't I know I put it in my, the thing is I remember putting it into my, okay, that's not it. Maybe it's in here. Sorry, I'm so sorry that I'm taking up so much time. Here we go. June 27th and June 28th. Ah, okay, so that's not when the fair starts. The fair starts, okay. I wrote it down in my calendar wrong. So June 27th and June 28th are the drop-off days for the county fair. And the county fair starts July 12th and runs through July 19th. And then the state fair sign-ups, registration starts next week on the 9th. And state fair drop-offs are July 27th and 28th. With the pickup of my fair piece for the county fair being the 20th. So the fair runs from the 12th to the 19th. The county fair runs from the 12th to the 19th. And then on the 20th, I need to pick up my piece. And then the following weekend, on the 27th and 28th, I have to drop off my piece for the state fair. And then the state fair starts. I did not put it in my calendar yet. Did the state fair drop dates yet? Judging is posted August 25th, entry September 5th. Okay, so the state fair probably starts August 23rd and runs through August 31st, not into September this time, it looks like, because if September 3rd is the pickup day. Okay, so that's the crazy information on the fair. It's very confusing, especially because there's two fairs and they're so close to each other. But county fair, I'm registered for. I'm waiting for my piece to come back from the framers. It's supposed to come back June 2nd, which I will have some time to show you how it looks. I can't wait until it comes. I, again, picked what would be non-traditional colors to frame it in. The fair piece that I entered last year, the flowers in the vase with the black work background. It's called Asian Splendor by Elsa Williams. And that one, I originally picked some like burgundies and greens to go with it. And it came down to cost on how much it was going to cost to be framed, because it's also it was a somewhat larger piece. And I ended up going through what they called their in-house mats, as opposed to, they have mats that they typically have in stock all the time, and they can cut you the mat board right then and there. Whereas a lot of the other mats, they're out of house, and so they order it with the cuts already come in, and it comes in pre-cut. All you have to do is, if there's double triple matting, you have to tape/glue the mats together. They use like an ATG double-sided sticky tape that's like really super heavy duty strong, that they use to tape the mats together. So like you would just, tape it together and pop it in when it comes out of house versus in-house. And so the in-house matting was cheaper. And I ended up picking some colors that were in the vase and the bird, because there's like I called it a phoenix bird in the vase. So I picked out like an orange and like the teal aqua kind of color that were in the vase, instead of the colors that I had originally went for. And I think it turned out very, very nice. And the same thing with my Teresa Wensler. I picked some non-traditional colors. I picked a spring green, like a yellowy green color that matched some of the greenery in the rocks of the dragon. And then I picked a reddish orange top mat that wasn't really a color in the picture, but given the dye job that I did for the fabric for it, it helped make the dragon pop more against the colored background that it was on. So somewhat non-traditional than what, than like what the first instincts are. First instincts are usually more bland and conservative. And it was, after a while of trying this and trying that and trying to pull out some of the colors that were already in the picture, I was just like, you know what, maybe I need to step back from what I would, normally do and try something a little bit wild. And after I found the more flashy, I guess, matting, that I was like, okay, I like this. I like this. And the the woman that I was working with at the counter, she was, very helpful, very, oh yeah. So it was a great experience. I really do like taking my stuff to Michael's, you know, even though I haven't worked in the frame department in, gosh, 20 years, I still prefer Michael's over. Of course, I haven't gone to Hobby Lobby to see if they frame, but Joanne's framed a family photo of mine, and I was really not happy with that overall experience. And now that Joanne's is gone, I can't say that I miss them particularly because I didn't really shop at that store that often, especially after the framing debacle that I had. I was like, even though Joanne's was physically closer to my house than Michael's or Hobby Lobby, although the distance from my house to Michael's and the distance from my house to Hobby Lobby is probably equal. Whereas Joanne's was right in the middle and it actually was closer to my house. I went in and I bought bead stuff from them a few years ago and I really enjoyed their bead selection, but that was, I don't know, the framing debacle that happened just sort of put a bad taste in my mouth that just made me not want to continue shopping there. And so, of the three stores, Michael's is my primary choice. And that's probably because I did work for them when I was in college. I don't want to call it brand loyalty since, I'm no longer employed by them and haven't been employed by them for, oh gosh, since 2005. So it's been 20 years since I last worked at Michael's. But I don't know. It's always easier to deal with them. And I haven't had the bad experiences with Michael's that I had with Joann's. And like I said, I haven't gone to Hobby Lobby either. I'm not sure if they have a custom framing department at Hobby Lobby. Um, I could go. So normally when I travel and I'm going around town, I actually go this way more than I go this way. And Hobby Lobby is this way, and Michael's is this way, and most of the stores that I go to are this way. So I just sort of go that way. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll look into it for the next one, maybe, and see how they are so I can compare. Maybe they're a little bit cheaper, maybe they're the same, maybe they're more expensive. It's hard because Michael's will run those big 70% off sales, which was the sale um, last week when I put in my framing order. Was it last week or was it the week before? Now I don't even remember, but Michael's wait time on a custom frame order is usually 2 weeks. When I worked there, they were adamant about it being 2 weeks, no more, unless there were extreme circumstances. And you had to, at least my manager, the one manager that I had, you had to explain why the custom frames weren't getting done in the time that they were getting done. Like if it was a problem with the stuff that's, ordered out of house and shipped in, which all of the frames are ordered, the parts are shipped in, and then one of the framers joins the frame pieces together. And sometimes the frames will come chipped, dented, scratched, not perfect. And so when that happens, they have to order a brand new frame. And that old frame, it used to just be thrown in the compactor and destroyed. Now I think they have an oops section. And so you can buy the broken, dented, chipped frames, knowing that it's broken, dented, chipped, or whatever, and it's at a discount. They're like the as is frames. They did start doing that, and my Michaels here does do that, but I don't often see a lot of oops frames on the wall for me to go through. Um, that's not to say I don't have oops frames from long ago, but you know, um, so they've always been adamant about that 2 week turnaround time. And, if they don't get it done in those 2 weeks, you as the employee had to explain to management why the frames weren't done in the 2 weeks. So I've always liked that about Michaels. And, my horror story when I went to Joann Fabrics, the computer printed me out a date that was, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks out. And then the person that took my order physically scratched that out and then hand wrote a different date. And then it wasn't even done by that time. And I had to keep calling and chasing them down. And then by the time it was done, when I went in to pick it up, they couldn't find my piece. And they're like, well, you picked it up already. And I'm like, no, I didn't. They're like, well, you signed and dated it. I was like, that was the date that I made the order. See, it matches the receipt date. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, you shouldn't have done that because that means that you picked it up. And I'm like, they told me to do it up front. So, it was just the whole thing that I did not enjoy that framing experience. And I've not had a framing experience like that anywhere else when I've gotten custom framing done. Of course, a lot of time when I did work at frame shops, I did my own custom framing. And that was another thing when I went to the lady, I was like, at Michael's, I was like, I'd like to try to keep this between or like around $150 because, it's a lot of money for custom framing. And the first thing that we worked up with the frame that I picked and the matting, I think it was a suede mat and the double matting and, whatever. It was like $222, something like that. And then I'm like, okay, that's way more than I wanted to pay. Let's try to bring this down. So I went through and I found cheaper matting. Well, it's not that I found cheaper matting. It's don't use the suede mats. The suede mats are the most expensive matting, and that's where your big price is. Well, one of your big prices. Um, Especially don't ever put a suede mat as your bottom mat because you're only going to see 3/8 to 1/4 of an inch of that bottom mat, and all the rest of it is covered up. So you're losing out on having your suede as your bottom mat. But we went through, I found cheaper frames that worked with it. And I think total I spent $125 on everything. And that included the glass, that included them doing the stitchy pin instead of me doing it myself, which I can do it myself. And if that had helped me save money, I would have done the stitchy pin myself, but because of what the discount was, it did not save me any money. So I just let them do the whole thing. So I'm excited and I'm waiting for that. And I can't wait to show you everyone. I'm so sorry. I just got really rambly there at the end. I apologize, but hopefully some of that information was actually helpful and not, ugh, she's talking again. So I will see hopefully everyone next week. And if not, it will be in 2 weeks. Just because it's summer vacation. And today, the one that I spun is the Dutch Beauty Sampler. So that is what I will focus on working on today during my time. So I will see everyone next week, maybe, hopefully.